All right, recording on the cloud. Here we go. All right, so like I said, the first thing that I want to do today is slow down and break out three of the forms that they did talk about. I believe they talked about all three of these forms in the CREB webinar, but like I said, they went really fast. So I want to just spend a little bit of time and slow down. So I'm going to do a screen share here. And let's see. Let me get rid of that. Oh, I can't move things around again. I hate that. Say okay to that, Damian. Get rid of the chat box. All right, we're getting somewhere. So, sorry for the delay. Um, there's three forms that I think, we've talked a lot about the BRBC, obviously. And obviously that's still a really important form. And I feel like we know it pretty well, at least well enough to get through it with maybe asking some questions. But I feel like we know that one pretty solid. The growing momentum and thought to segue into these forms is that the new normal will be buyer's agent will submit an offer to purchase on a property, and they will submit it in conjunction or connected to this form here, the SPBB, seller's payment to buyer's broker. And I know that we went over this a week or so ago, but since you're gonna have to start using it on a real regular basis here in a couple of weeks, I just want to go over real quickly again. Keep in mind, they're probably going to change it again, guys. So, we just have to kind of go with that as we go. But here's the form, and we've got all of the party information up here. I pulled this form out of a listing, so ignore the name. We've got all the party information up here, and then we get down into making the request for the seller to pay you, the buyer's agent, the buyer's broker. There's a spot for a percentage, or we can put in a flat fee, right? It talks again about what we've discussed many, many times, and that is the next few lines. All you need to know is, that you have to have some kind of representation agreement with the buyer executed before you ever show them the property, and therefore before they ever have the property in contract. You know that to be true. The next few lines here are basically a recap of what we've discussed, and that is you can't be paid any more than you agreed to charge the buyer on your BRBC, right? So remember, if your BRBC says 2% because you were really trying to get the buyer and you wanted to sign him or her, and so you said, I'm going to cut you a deal and I'm going to do it 2%, that's the most that you can ask for from a seller or the most that you can collect from a transaction. It's really important to know that. On the other hand, if your BRBC says 3% and you make a request at 2.5% from the seller direct, you've got no problem. The moral of the story here, guys, is when you're executing a BRBC, in my mind, with a buyer, you've got to execute that thing for 3%. You've got to let them know that you're going to collect from the seller and that you're willing to make an adjustment or amendment, a modification of terms to that BRBC down to whatever you can get from the seller. But if you start low on the BRBC, you're limiting the amount that you can collect from a seller. And I don't want to see you do that. That's a huge mistake. Anybody have any questions about that before we move on with the rest of the form? Is that concept clear in your brains? If that concept is clear in your brains, everybody nod or scream yes into your microphone. I just want to make sure that I've got that clear.
Yes.
Okay, good. So remember, a couple of weeks ago, I said I'm not executing any buyer's agreement for less than 3%, right? I'm just not doing it. as a matter of practice. And that's the reason. I'm not going to hold my buyer's feet to the fire at 3%. If I do a transaction and we write an offer and I can only get 2% from the seller, I'm not going to hold the buyer's feet to the fire for the other one unless they're really, really financially stable and have the liquidity to do it. I'm going to do a modification of terms and take their buyer's agreement down to 2, but I'm not going to limit what I can ask for from the seller. Let me tell you another reason for this and the way that I think this is going to go. And Brendan and I talked about this morning, and we're pretty locked in on this. When somebody submits an offer on one of our listings and it's accompanied by the SPBB form, and the buyer's agent is requesting a commission, and the seller's net is not where they want it to be. And oh, by the way, folks, the first round of offers, a seller's net is never where they want it to be. It doesn't matter how much the offer is, okay? It can be $15,000 over, and the seller, the first thing that they will say is, well, I want more. That's what they will say, okay? The first move that they're going to make is what? Anybody have a guess? I'll give you a hint.
Cut the buyer's commission.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the buyer's agent's commission. That's the first move that they're going to make, right? So we have to be ready for that. We have to know that that's probably coming. So if you're going to be smart about this, you're probably going to go in with an offer with, you know, whatever purchase price that your buyer puts together in their offer, the terms they put together in the offer, and you're going to send in an SPBB form along with at 275. Why not? Commissions aren't regulated. That's what I want. I usually charge 3. I'm willing to do it for 275 because my client really wants the house. Okay. You know what's going to happen from there, and we'll be able to adjust from there. Right? So at the end of all that SPBB form and all of that conceptual stuff that we're talking about, the net of it before we move on is execute your buyer broker's agreement at 3%, submit your SPBB form at 2.75, anticipate the fact that the listing agent is going to scream, know that it's coming, and then you have some room to negotiate if you need to negotiate, and everybody's happy. Okay? Then we have no conflicting issues with commission on those forms. All right, the next 2 forms are related to open houses, or this next form could be not related to an open house. And here's the rub. And Steve asked this question of me 4 weeks ago, and I didn't have an answer. Let me give you some backstory. Steve said, what about an open house? So we're a listing agent, or we're working an open house for a listing agent, and we're not allowed to show anybody a property unless we have a BRBC signed with them, and they come to the door at the open house. According to the new rules or the new regs, we can't talk to them. We can't show them the property. He's absolutely right. So I think that somebody else or a couple hundred other people said, hey, this is a problem. And so they came up with these 2 forms. In fact, let's go to the 3rd form first. Let's go backwards here, guys. So one of the forms that they talked about was the open house visitor non-agency disclosure and sign-in, if that's not a mouthful, right? Basically what this says is, I'm an agent holding a house open. You're going to sign the form down here, and you're acknowledging all of those words above, which says that I'm not your agent. I don't have any fiduciary responsibility to you. You don't have any financial commitment to me. We all understand that. And I'm going to walk around and play real estate agent and show you this house. Okay? But then we have them sign this. We're in the clear. We can show the house without violating the new statute. But then they say, you know, we really like you, and we actually want you to represent us on this. And you're not me until you do dual agency. And so then you're going to go to this form, right? Which is basically a miniature version of the BRBC. So this form is going to take care of a very limited and property specific, up to 3 properties, agency arrangement, okay? Without all of the details of the BRBC. So I see this form being used a couple of different ways. The first one is, hey, you know what? We like you, open house host agent person. We want you to represent us on this house. You know, how do we get started? Bam, there it is. I've got this form with me. We fill it out by hand, whatever. The second scenario that I see this being used on is, I don't want to, or I'm not ready to sign a BRBC. It's scary. I don't want to know about the commitment. I just want you to show me 1 or 2 houses on Saturday. You know, isn't there some way that we can do that without having to go into the full-on 9-page BRBC and have me locked in forever? Sure. It's right here. We agree on these 3 properties for representation and compensation. It's in graph form, just like all the forms now, which I really like. It talks about the agency period. This agency period cannot exceed 30 days. Okay, it's a short order form. It's probably going to be a 10-day deal most of the time, right? This is your trial run form rather than, well, let's fill out the whole BRBC and do a trial run. It talks about compensation. It reminds everybody again, commissions, whatever these commissions are, they can't exceed the amount that we've stated is our cap. It talks about being able to cancel upon a cancellation upon receipt, immediate cancellation. Then it goes into all the new stuff that we see on every single damn form in the car library now, which is brokers' commissions are negotiable. You don't have to do it, blah, blah, blah. It defines broker involvement. We've talked a lot about that before. You can only demand a commission or hold somebody's feet to the fire on a commission if you had direct involvement with the property. It describes what that is again. I like this because I know you're going to do these things, right? But what's more important is that the buyers, by signing this, have acknowledged that if you do those things that I know you're going to do, you're entitled to a commission. They can't argue it. Talks about when the timing of compensation is. And this is pretty cool because they've added some verbiage in here. And to all of these little sections, when they talk about commissions, they've added some stuff. Obviously, if the transaction closes, that's when we get paid. However, also, if the buyer breaches and the transaction can't close because of a buyer breach, you're still entitled to a commission, and they're signing off on it in the representation agreement. Let me give you an example. Buyer's got a cousin that's a lender that writes him a bogus pre-qual. Okay, you write the offer, you get accepted with the cousin's pre-qual. Cousin figures out, we'll make it work out somehow. I ain't worried about it, right? Gets him into underwriting. You've got inspection contingencies removed. You get to the point where you need to do appraisal and loan contingency. The truth comes out. The cousin doesn't know what the hell he's doing. Buyer can't close the transaction. You're entitled. Also, if the seller can't close the transaction, seller breaches, seller can't close the transaction, and the buyer sues and collects damages, you're entitled for 50% of those damages not to exceed the amount of your regular commission, of your pre-stated commission. Pretty cool, right? Will we ever collect in either of those scenarios? Probably not, but it makes us feel better. I don't ever see it happening, but if it does, it'll be great. Payment comes through escrow. You've got to do an accounting for payments. You've got to rebate any excess from the whatever your commission is stated to the buyer. You have to do that. Everybody can cancel. Let's talk about agency relationships. Let's talk about dual agency. But it is a lot shorter, guys, right? It is a lot shorter. Here's a section on open house and prospective buyers without representation. Okay. And it's done. What is it? 4 pages? 3 pages. Right? 3 pages. You can establish a quick agency relationship. It's pretty detailed. Okay. It's a lot less scary than 9 to 11 pages of BRBC. All right. Got somebody that's kind of hinging. Got somebody that doesn't like signing all those pages. Got somebody that wants to, see how it goes. Here's the way to do it. And it's a lot less intimidating. A lot less intimidating. All right. Any questions on these forms before I close them out and we kind of move on? Anybody?
I've got a side note.
Go.
So definitely get your buyer broker agreement signed for 3% at least, because you're going to come down, right?
Yes.
I would not, and you tell me if you disagree here, D. I would not go in blindly at 2.75 when you're submitting an offer, just because you got to do your homework first. If there's no other offers on the table, definitely go 2.75, but reach out to that listing agent. Make sure you're finding out what other offers are out there. Are they also submitting at 2.5 or 2.75? Don't shoot yourself in the foot right off the bat just because you go, oh, let's just go up 2.75 because that's, cookie cutter. So do your homework up front.
And I told you guys, but 6, 7 meetings ago, you want to figure out how to get your offers accepted. You listen to Brendan. There it is, right? I mean, absolutely a great point. Don't listen to me. Get all like, hey, I'm just going to do it at 2.75. F them. Like, don't do that. Like, listen to Brendan. He's absolutely right. Do some homework. Don't go at 2.75 if that's going to get you blown up immediately. Especially if you're in a multiple offer situation, the first step is to stay in the game. All of those things are going to matter. All of those things are going to matter. If there are no offers and the thing's been on the market for a little bit, like some of the houses that we're seeing now, maybe then use the Damian method. You could probably get away with it a little bit better. Yeah. Thank you, Brendan, for keeping me in check. I appreciate it. All right. Anybody else questions on the form before I stop the screen share? No? All right. Going once, going twice. Screen share gone. Okay. Now, I want to take a little bit of the time that we have left here. I'm moving my box around to see. Good. Nobody else wants in. A little bit of time left here just to kind of have a kind of state of the market discussion. Now, I need to put in some ground rules here. Okay. I need to put in some ground rules. I do not want to get into a conversation specific about any politics. I do not want to get into a conversation specific about any market. And I'm talking about like the stock market. Okay. If we can all just agree that as a basis for this discussion, that there is volatility in both the financial markets and the political arena, unlike a volatility that we've really ever seen, at least for at least 10 years. If we can agree to that, then we can have the discussion and we can limit the amount of tangent that is possible. And I'm saying this mostly for myself because I can tangent. I can tangent hard. So everybody agree? Nod your head if you agree. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I had a good talk with Brendan this morning. We screamed at each other a bit, complained a lot, and what we got out of that, I think, was some really good stuff. And Brendan, chime in anytime to add to what I'm saying. Okay, but what is going on? Michael is in the waiting room again. He's right there. I see him. And I
So
kind of,
sorry.
it's all right. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier. It is tough out there. Okay. It is really tough out there right now. So we've got, who is that? I'm gonna nuke him. I'll nuke him. I nuked him there. We have got the situation kind of in all markets. Definitely in the Sac Metro market, definitely in East Placer market, where a few things are happening. You're starting to see more inventory pile up. You're starting to see houses that sit on the market much, much longer. And you're starting to see houses, particularly in Sac Metro, that have gone into escrow and then come back on the market. Okay. At the same time, there's less buyer activity in general. And so what we've got is kind of a slowdown from a slowdown, right? 6 months ago, it was slow because there was nothing to sell. Today, it is slow for different reasons, absolutely different reasons. These are my opinions and my opinions only. The biggest reason that we've got less buyer activity is because everybody and their sister is talking about the fact that rates are going to go down. Okay, they're going to go down. We finally got to the point in time where people said, you know what? I accept the fact that the rates are 7%. It's actually historically not that bad. I don't necessarily like it, but I'm going to go ahead and make a move because I can always refinance later, right? What was it? What you're saying, Brendan? Marry the house, not the rate.
Date the rate.
Date the rate. Got it. So we had that going for a little while, and that picked us up. But now those people, those same people, are like, well, hey, rates are going to go down. They said rates are going to go down, and so I'm going to hold off because I don't want to have to worry about refinancing or whatever else. Okay. My answer to that is this. If somebody says that to me, my answer is, are you sure? Number one, are you sure that that's going to happen? Because I don't know that. You don't know that. I don't even think that they know that, whoever the hell they is, right? They have been saying that rates were going to go down since the last quarter of last year. They said that rates would go back down and be normal by February of this year. They were incorrect. Okay. The second thing that I would say is, even if they are correct, if the rate goes down, do you know what happens to the price? The price goes up. That's just a fact. The price goes up. Do you remember when rates first started going up and everybody was putting the graphics on social media that actually made sense? And that is that a $1 million house at 2%, and you take a $800,000 house at 6-7%, and the payment's the same. Okay. And they're talking about the same house. Okay. And oh, by the way, what would you like your property tax roll to be set at? 1 million or 800,000? Which one? Choose. Okay. So they might be right that the rate's going to go down, but they aren't telling you then that the price is going to go up, because it will, and so will your tax roll. It will go up. Okay. Because it's based on purchase price. It's based on purchase price. So we've got to do a better job at everything. And the first thing we've got to do a better job at is being able to address when somebody says, well, I'm holding off because the rate's going to go down. All right. Why do we think that some houses are still selling right away and some houses are not selling at all? We know the answer to that, guys. Price is critically important right now. Okay. Price and prep are critically important. If you have a listing that is priced correctly and value priced, and they've done their homework in advance, if you're looking at a listing for your clients and you think it's a good deal, and you look at the attached docs and you see a bunch of disclosure and a bunch of inspections, I would almost bet that that house is going to go quick and it's going to have multiple offers. Brendan, would you agree on that? just generally speaking, if you
Yes.
see a house that's that well prepped and priced, it's going to go.
I think it always goes back to price, and then if you make the preparations, it's just another layer of it being ready to move.
Yeah. Yeah. We also think that that's the reason that there's houses coming back on market, because those houses may have been prepped properly, or excuse me, priced properly, but they didn't have the prep done. They didn't have all the inspections done. They didn't have the disclosure done. So what happens, right? When you have that situation, what happens is the buyer gets into contract, they bring in their inspectors. Their inspectors have a bunch of findings. They go back and want 2 times what the findings are worth from the seller. The seller's stubborn because their neighbor sold for more. They dig in their heels, the transaction blows up, and it goes back to market. Right? So again, price and prep. That's what it all goes. That's what it all gets back to. When you see what's happening with these houses, you can almost always trace it back to price and prep. If you're overpriced right now, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. Right? Nobody's going to buy it. If you don't have all your inspections done up front, it's coming. It's absolutely coming. Okay. They're going to put the house into contract. They're going to send all the inspectors through it. They're going to come up with a wad of cash in the form of paper reports, and they're going to come looking. They're absolutely going to come looking. Okay. Given all these conditions, given all this uncertainty with the rate, with the election years are tough anytime. Okay. They're tough anytime. This one's nasty. Okay. It's absolutely nasty. It's going to be, in my opinion, a tough last part of the year. Okay. I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to prep you. The only way to get ahead of that, the only way to thrive inside of that, the only way to be okay inside of that crap is to truly, truly grind. You have got to grind almost every day. Okay. And it's not going to be fun. Okay. It's going to be frustrating. There's 20 no's to every one yes. Okay. That's just the way that it is. All right. And it's a numbers game. You have to get through all of the no's to get to the yeses. You have to get through all the BS to get the bona fide clients. You have to do that. You have to be down for it. You have to be willing to grind through it. And you have to get to the good stuff, to the gold. That's the only way we get it done. But I promise you this. Absolutely promise you this. And the worse things get, the more that this is true. When you do that, and everybody around you is sleeping and struggling and sucking, and you grind through all of that, and you get that closing, you get that deal, it is sweet. You will forget about all the BS thing grinding. Jessica just had the worst transaction I've ever been a part of. Absolutely worst transaction ever. Worst agent, worst broker, worst escrow company, everything. Horrible. Horrible. Just closed. Did it finally close today? When did the damn thing close? When did it close? Today? Yeah. Okay. How you feel? Yeah. Yeah. Feel pretty good, right? Guys, when I say horrible transaction, I am not kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. I went after on the phone. Me and this other broker, we went round, and there was a language barrier, and it didn't matter. We were going around. So it's hard. Okay. Those of you that are new, this is the best time to be new, because man, you are going to cut your teeth. It will never be this hard. That's not true. It will it will get better, and it won't be this hard again for a long time. It won't. I promise you. You'll have like 8, 9 years of easy. Okay. I promise you, on the other side of this is, if I could just put my shoes on in the morning, if I can just do that, that's good for 12 units a year. Just putting my shoes on, that's 12 units a year. I've been there. Brendan's been there. Okay. We were just talking about it the other day. What happened to the days when we made all this money and we were eating out at gourmet restaurants every night and freaking going to Mexico once a month? What happened to those days? I mean, it's ridiculous how easy it can be. It's stupid.
They're in the future.
I mean, I almost feel bad saying it. But the reason the easy times are there is because we need them to get us through this BS right here. Like, we wouldn't do it if it was always like this. We wouldn't do it. So that's the carrot. Talk to me about, let's get honest. Let's get really, really honest. I'll start. What is keeping you from doing what you have to do to double or triple your business right now? What's keeping you from doing it? I'll start. I'll be totally honest. I don't want to do it. Okay. I hate cold calling. All right. I hate following up with people that have already told me no. I don't like it. And I don't enjoy recruiting. I really don't. Okay. Like, I like recruiting when somebody calls me and says, hey, tell me about your business. I love that. Right. I absolutely love that. But to like go out and hunt and peck and all of that, I don't like it. And I'll cop to it. If I don't start doing a better job at those things, it's going to be hard. I'm not going to do what I want to do. I'm not going to achieve what I want to achieve, and I'm not going to have the financial lifestyle or the lifestyle that I want. I'm not going to have it. So I've got a decision to make, right? Suck it up and do it, or be happy with what I've got. Who's going next? What's keeping you from tripling your business right now?
I can tell you for myself that all the tools are here, all of the tech is here. For me, it is lack of execution. Have to do it. Just have to do it. I'm not executing and hold myself accountable now to change it. So it's got to do it. If you don't do it, it's not going to get done.
Make the putt, Rory. uh,
Okay, well, you want to hear mine?
yeah, Cindy.
Well, I think y'all know why, don't you?
Don't you?
No, I have I am reaching out to some of my clients, but I'm not excited about and I'm sorry, other agents, but I'm not excited about doing things here in California. I'm very excited about doing it in Tennessee, and I'm working on my license there. So that's why I'm not grinding. I mean, I obviously have to, and hopefully I get some good leads for you guys for Rockland, you know. Off topic real quick. All these forms, I was able to get into that webinar yesterday, but all these forms, is there somewhere, maybe if I look at the buyer agreement in the win forms, so that we know when we submit an offer, when I receive an offer, of what forms are supposed to attach to all this besides learning these things? There's a lot of them. There's a lot. I mean, I have, a ton in front of me. I've been studying. It's like, which ones, do you submit with an offer that, that another subject at some other time or,
well, the answer is sky slope.
Okay.
So the required checklists or the required documentation list and everything, if it's not done in sky slope, it will be done in sky slope. So you can look there, or none of us are writing 5 offers a day. So if you get to the point where you're getting ready to write an offer or you're getting ready to execute a listing agreement, give me a shout and I'll make sure that we go through it real quick and get what you need to have in order.
Okay. Yeah, they sent out a lot of emails from CAR too. I'm going to listen to some of those links because they covered it. Was very brief yesterday on that webinar. So
Yeah, it was. There was a lot to cover in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe we can put together a quick checklist for, for what forms we need for offers, just to
Mhm.
make sure we're not missing anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna send myself a note right now to talk to Mary about it and see if we can't do that.
And then since I'm unmuted still, so if we have any current listings, well, mine coming up, I have a listing agreement I've had since March, and then my own, I can do modification or I have to change it all to the new listing agreement, and it's,
No, you don't. So that's a great question. I would say for Rockland, Cindy,
yeah,
because that is so old, I think that you and I should get together and send them a new listing agreement to sign because it's so old.
I agree. Yeah,
And
and then I'm a compliant.
it wasn't on market,
Yeah,
before it changed. But like yours, for example, you don't need to change that listing agreement. On August 12th, I don't know if we covered this, but on August 12th, MetroList is going to drop those fields that are no longer applicable.
yes.
Yeah. So the 17th is the practice change, but MetroList is going to be 5 days ahead of that and drop the fields off to get compliant.
Okay, so I don't need to adjust anything on my end. I mean, it's still going to be 2.5%. They just are going to take it out of the field, I guess. I don't know.
Well, actually, no, that's a great question. So let's say that you have a listing agreement that says I'll pay a co-op commission of 2.5, right?
Yes.
On August 17th, it no longer exists. It's gone.
Cool. Can I save
Yep.
some money?
You can. So on August 17th, it drops off. And this is different from what we originally thought about and forecasted, 18 months ago. It drops off, it's gone. It's illegal to even talk about it. So when you get an offer post August 17th, if they don't make the ask, okay, with the SPBB, it's not there. It doesn't exist. Even if it was there before, it's gone now.
Filler. See, we got the acronyms now that I'm not familiar with.
Okay, the SPBB is the form that the buyer's agent would submit with the offer that says, here's my client's offer.
Oh, yeah.
Here's my request for you to pay me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay. So your house. So let me just say this and then we'll move on. Jackrabbit, let's write a new one. You and I can work on that. You're 2 weeks out, so we can work on that. Make sure that it's new and current in the new form and the new everything. Okay.
Yeah.
And then on your house, you don't have to do anything. Just leave it alone.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Sorry for the interruption there.
Oh, no problem. No problem. And oh, by the way, on Jackrabbit, we'll be listing a co-op commission on the. We won't even be listing a co-op commission because we'll be on the new form and it just won't exist. It's not there.
Yeah, she's aware of the changes, so I don't have to. I mean, I'll have to explain the form, but she's aware of still the 2.5%. So we won't have an issue on that unless I save the money, and they do a flat rate. I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's all going to depend on what gets submitted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then they can negotiate. All right.
Okay.
So don't let me forget that, Cindy. We got to do a new one.
I will.
Who's next? Who's going next? What's stopping you from doubling your business right now? I'll give you a hint. The answer is you. Is Michael talking? Does he not know he's muted? Yeah. Michael, are you trying to go? You got to unmute. We can't hear you. No. He doesn't know. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. All right. Who's going? Karen, what do you think? I can see.
I know what my problem is.
What is it?
I can't find enough hours in the damn day for me to do all the things I need to do.
Time.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
time.
If I could get up at 3 a.m. and run till midnight, I might have it.
Yep.
Working on it.
Yep.
Getting there.
Yep. I hear you. I mean, look, I don't have another job. This is
Yeah,
my only job.
even scheduling stuff in, it's hard. Like you can only do what you can do before you just have to go down.
I would say this, and this is just a suggestion, and that is try to carve out time and actually list it in your calendar.
I do.
Okay, good.
I
All right,
have
good.
to.
Okay,
For
good.
literally everything in my life, or it doesn't get done.
And then don't ever worry about, oh God, what if somebody calls and they want a showing or whatever, and I have to go to work, or don't ever worry about that. We got your back. We'll
Awesome.
take care of you and help you
Okay.
with that.
Sweet.
Yeah. All right. Who else?
So I'm with Karen on this one. I do get up at 3 a.m. and I go until I can't go anymore. So I go until sometimes 9 p.m. doing post office, life, real estate, and I hope for the best. And luckily, though, I have experienced Karen. We do have a team on our side to help us with those things. Sometimes something's urgent and I have a circus in front of me at the post office, literally a circus, like hundreds of people needing things from me. And I cannot stop and like do the real estate thing. And I know that somebody will handle it for me, especially the transaction coordinator is amazing and our broker, of course. So I do want to reassure you there. It is crazy impossible, but luckily getting off early, I'm able to like, I feel like I have less excuses. I should at 1 p.m. be able to do real estate things. So I will accept that I could spend more time putting things in my calendar to market, post on social media, go door to door, whatever. There's a huge list of things that any one of us could do to get more clientele. So that's all.
Yeah. Anybody else? Julie, what do you got? She's not even here. She just turned it on and let it run and put it on mute. Like Phantom there, right? Phantom there. But you guys are all right. And that's what I mean. When I use the word grind, it's because doing what we need to do better in these kind of environments it's not fun. It's horrible. Right? It is a grind. And those of you guys that have other jobs, I mean, you've got a whole different set of challenges, and I totally respect that. You just got to carve out smaller amounts of time and have lower expectations as far as what is possible, right? So if the hardest working full-time people right now, full-time real estate people, the hardest working grinding full-time real estate people are gonna track to do 6 units in a year, you know, maybe you guys are gonna track to do 3. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Because on the other side of this, when times are good, you know, we're talking about a different scenario. We're talking about the hardest grinding real estate agents doing 30 and you're doing 15, right? So it's all relative, but that's what it is. It's a grind, and we have to have discipline and we have to have accountability. And, you know, it's the only way we're going to get through it. I asked Brendan this morning because I need this to handle my accountability. Okay. He's going to keep me accountable. I'm going to tell him this is what I'm going to do. These are my priorities. This is what I'm going to work on. And he's going to he's going to call me to the carpet and check on me and see if I'm doing it. Okay. And he didn't ask me, but I'm going to do the same to him. He doesn't want me to, but I'm going to do it.
I'm in.
So that's where it's at. If that would be helpful for you, consider reaching out to one of your coworkers or somebody else to be your accountability partner. You know, You hear about coaching programs all the time, right? The most effective part of most coaching programs is not the content. It's not the content. It's the damn accountability. Because if you're showing up week after week after week after week after week, and they've given you marching orders, and you don't bring results, or you don't show that you followed the quote unquote program, that's an uncomfortable situation. And if you follow the quote unquote program, you will have results. It will happen, right? If you go back, I want you to do this one thing, and then we'll close it out. I want you to go to my YouTube channel, and I want you to watch the video that says how Damian prospects in KV Corp. How Damian prospects. Yes, some of you were at the actual meeting, but it's been a while, so I want you to watch it again. Right? Yeah, Brendan. You raise your hand.
Before we go, yeah, I'd like to say something in regards to kind of backing up just real quick.
Yeah.
As far as the possible rate cut, I think that if any of you have buyers, this is a great time to have the talk track and go, hey, look, there's more inventory than there ever has been. There's talk of rate cuts. If they do cut rates, you are now going to be in competition, and the price is going to be higher. So get into the house now. And if you do think there's going to be a rate cut, you make your 6 payments, 6 months, and then you can refinance. You'll have that lower tax rate like Damian was talking about, and you'll beat people to the punch. So that's a great talk track for unloading all your buyers right now. It's out there. There's houses back on the market all the time. Great time to get people in the contract as a buyer.
Yeah, absolutely right. Very, very, very good point. Thank you, Brendan. So watch that video, how Damian prospects. If you do that, I'm not talking about a little bit. I'm talking about if you do all of it, you'll have a result. You'll do at least one transaction, at least one. You will. Okay. Last thing, got a big dog listing in Cool. It's going to be open on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. If you guys are interested in coming up and doing open houses with us, please let me know. The property is massive. We could use all the help we could get. It's a 3,700 square foot house with a freaking 1,200 square foot ADU and 3 barns and 2 tack rooms and right? Fully fenced, gated property, not too deep and cool. So if you've got time, Friday evening, Saturday during the day, Sunday during the day, let me know. Text me, reach out to me, and we'll get you up there.
We're sure
yeah.
that's not in the evacuation zone right now,
No,
right?
so far
Okay.
this morning, yeah. So far we're
Okay.
clean. Yeah.
Okay.
It goes up to Georgetown, and the wind's going that way. So I
Yeah.
think that we're going to be all right. Obviously, I'm going to keep a very, very close eye on that. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yep. So let me know on that. All right. Anybody got anything else before we click the button? Okay. Watch that video. How Damian prospects. Consider getting yourself an accountability partner. Be honest with yourself and go out and grind. If you can do that, you've got 2 transactions waiting for you before the end of the year minimum, I promise. Okay? We good? All right. I'll see y'all later. You guys sell a lot of real estate. I'm clicking the button.